What's the story, morning glory? What's the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and joining me again for another review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 5, Episode 2, Catching Flights to Catch Feelings. So let's start off with Geno and Jasmine. So we learned that Jasmine actually has two children. She has two little boys. The oldest one lives with the father, and the younger one lives with her. But I think that the younger child may have some health conditions, some pre existing health conditions. So when COVID hit, it was better for the child not to be in the city, I'm assuming. And that's why he lives with Jasmine's mother in the countryside, she said. So I had no idea that she had two kids because when Geno talks about having a family with her, he never mentioned that she comes with a ready-made family and that he's actually going to be a stepfather to two little boys. Had no idea. So she is waiting for her man to arrive. She's chilling by the pool in her bikini, looking like the cover of Sports Illustrated. And she's just a very attractive woman with a lot of insecurities. So she's got this like paralyzing fear, I guess, of being cheated on. It happened to her in the past, and that's why she's so crazy with Geno, where she needs to know where he's going. He has to have his phone with her he has to have his phone with him all the time so that he can show her where he's at, so she can know that he's not lying, that he's not at some woman's house or whatever. And I'm like, sweetheart, do you know? Anyways, so she says that she was cheated on before, and she says something like, you can be the most beautiful woman in the world, treat your man really, really good, and you can still get cheated on. And so when this happened to her, it just got her really shook. And I kind of worry about her relationship with Geno because nobody wants to be with a person like that, no matter how beautiful they are. You don't want to be with someone who is constantly very, very, very suspicious of every little thing that you do, everywhere that you go. Everything that you say has to be analyzed and overanalyzed and dissected and picked apart because she's trying to figure out, is he cheating or not? I don't understand, how that can be a happy, healthy, long-lasting relationship. And Geno is probably so like desperate to be in a relationship, especially with a woman like that he's probably going to put up with it. He's just going to end up being miserable because I'm pretty sure it's going to come to a point that her looks are not going to matter at all to him once she drives him up the wall. It's not going to matter how beautiful she is. It's not going to matter that people are going to be looking at him trying to figure out how did he catch a chick like that. None of that is ever. It's not even going to matter. He's going to be going through a living hell with a woman like Jasmine if she doesn't take care of these insecurities and develop more trust, because she said that in general she believes that all men cheat. So she's coming into this relationship already assuming that he's going to be cheating on her. Now it's one thing, and I'm not here to shame anyone on their looks. I'm not the most beautiful woman in the world. I will never enter a beauty contest, and you will not see me on the cover of any kind of magazine. But let's call a thing, okay? So it's one thing if, like a very handsome, successful man cheats on you, because it's kind of like, well, all the women are probably, he could only do so much to resist all the temptation that was coming at him. But then if someone like Geno, and I'm not saying that he's like ugly or anything, but he's not on the level of some other type of man. So if someone like Geno cheats on you, I wonder how Jasmine will take it, because she probably thinks that, if she's with a very good looking, very successful man, oh, he's going to cheat on me for sure. So maybe that's why she chose someone who's a little bit more average, because she probably thinks, well, no one's going to want him, so I don't have to worry about anybody cheating on me. But then if that ends up happening, she's really going to lose her mind. I don't know if she's going to be able to make it. But anyways, let's move on. So as soon as she gets to the hotel where they're going to be meeting at, she checks her voicemail messages, and he left her a voicemail message. And so she plays it, and the sound of his voice was like very irritating to me, because he had like a very high pitched voice. I guess he was doing his baby talk or his baby voice. And he sounded like Mickey Mouse to me. He sounded just like Mickey Mouse, or he sounded like that Chester the Molester neighbor, that old man Chester the Molester neighbor on Family Guy, who talks in that really high pitched voice. And that's what he sounded like to me. And it was just really, It was very annoying. And so she's like, who's my little baby? Who's my little gringuito? And he's like, oh, it's just like, oh, I can't take him. Anyway, so she says that he's a very thin man. And I guess she's not used to that because she's very worried that she's going to end up breaking him in half, when they do what it do. And she's like hoping that he can handle her. And she's worried about him literally losing his life because she's really going to put it on him. Her friend comes over to help her decorate the room with candles and rose petals, so on and so forth. So she talks about her trust issues, how she's like, doesn't trust men. And her friend is kind of like wary of this whole relationship that she's in with Geno. And she says that she vows to never be cheated on again, to never be put in that position where she's going to be the victim of infidelity. So here comes the arrival. So what matters most to her, she said, is that they connect on a deeper level and not so much, physical attraction. And so she goes to the airport. He shows up. They hug. They kiss. And she literally seemed happy to see him. Like, she was very happy to be in his presence. She was hugging on him and kissing on him from the time that he landed, from the time that, they met, all the way into the taxi or the Uber. She was just like all over him. She just was like she was happy to see him. So they get to the room, and they get to the hotel room, and she says she wants to see his face and she wants to see his teeth. I thought that was kind of strange. So, like, he grins so that, she could see his teeth. I don't understand that at all. And then she asks him to take off his hat, and he's like, no. And when she asked him to take off his hat, he was looking at, like, the production crew as if, like, he didn't want to do it on camera or something. Now, I might have things messed up chronologically. I don't know if she asked him that before they got into bed, but anyways, let's move on. So then he opens up his suitcase because he brought her gifts, and he brought her two gifts in particular. One of them was an electric toothbrush. And I thought she was going to be disappointed that he brought an electric toothbrush, because we've seen how some of these females act on 90 Day Fiancé when their men don't show up with flowers or the proper gifts. So I thought she was going to be like, what the hell is this? Why are you bringing me a toothbrush? But she was more upset about the fact that it wasn't wrapped, because it was just, in its box. So he brings her an electric toothbrush. And then he also brings her a pregnancy test. And she's looking at it like, what the hell is this? And he says, well, I want you to take it before I leave, or as soon as I leave. And I'm thinking to myself, why would she take it that? I mean, okay, first of all, she's on birth control. So she has no intentions of getting pregnant on this on his trip to Panama City. But even if she were to get pregnant, you won't find out that quickly. So... And they have pregnancy tests in Panama City. So why did they feel the need to bring that? That was just really strange and odd. So yeah, but she's on birth control, so she will not be using that. And so they're laying in the bed, and that's when she asked him to take off his hat. And that's when he looked at, like, I'm assuming he was looking at the production crew, because he was kind of like, well, he would have, as long as only if the cameras weren't there. So she says, take off your hat. And he's like, no, he doesn't want to. And so then she takes his phone, and she wanted the passcode to unlock the phone. And he was like, I don't have a passcode. I use my face to unlock it. So she says that even when you're sleeping, I can still unlock your phone just by holding the phone up to your face. And he's like, yeah. And so he can kind of see, the crazy Jasmine kind of, peeping out a little bit, because she says, well, when I look in your phone, I better not see anything, because I want you to be a good boy. And so they have this sort of like parent-child relationship. I don't know, because when she's like, I know you've been a good boy, and then they talk in that baby talk with each other, and she's all like, who's my little gringuito? I'm not understanding, like, the dynamics of this relationship. It's kind of like he likes to be babied by her. He likes to be controlled by her or something, because he has no problem doing all the crazy things that she asks of him. For example, taking his phone with him when he goes to pick up food. Like, he has to have his phone with him at all times so that she'll know exactly where he's at and what he's doing, because she's that crazy jealous. And it's all cute in the beginning. You're like, oh my God, this person really loves me because they're so jealous. After a while, it gets tiresome, and then it can get to borderline dangerous. So he's probably thinks, oh, this is so cute, this beautiful woman, she's so concerned about me cheating on her, until you realize that you can't go to work, you can't go to any social functions, you can't be around your family because she thinks that your relatives are trying to hook you up with somebody else. She doesn't want you to go to work. She wants you to work from home so she can keep her eye on you, because she's thinking that you're having an affair with the secretary at the office. You can't do anything without her being there with you, and it's gonna at some point, Geno, you're not gonna be able to take it. That's not a healthy, happy relationship. This woman is a walking red flag, Geno. You don't need this. It's not cute. It's not adorable. It's not a sign of love. It's not a sign of affection. She has serious insecurities that she needs to see a therapist for before she can be in a healthy relationship with anybody. Because it's one thing if she was with a man who was like, very good looking, very accomplished, wealthy. Then it's kind of like, well, yeah, he cheated on me because all the women want him because he's such a catch. But if someone like Geno, and I'm not saying that he's ugly or unattractive, but if someone like Geno cheats on you, yeah, good luck. Good luck with that, Geno. She's probably going to be like, okay, a person like you cheated on a person like me. She's going to lose her damn mind. So Geno, you need to be very, very careful. Moving on to Caleb and Elena. So Caleb visits his family, and his family up until this point has no idea that he has a girlfriend who lives in Russia he's going to be meeting in Turkey. They have no idea, and that she's also a little person. So he goes over to his parents' house, and he tells us that he grew up in a very religious Christian home, but he doesn't really, walk that path. So, he says he's going to be going to Turkey to visit a friend. And then he tells them that, I don't know if he told them that he was in a relationship with Elena, or if he just let them believe that I guess he told them that he was in a relationship with her, because he told them that she was a little person and that she's from Russia, but they're going to be meeting in Turkey. And his father asked him, well, what about if you and her have children? And, because the father was concerned about, what happens if if there's a chance that the children will also have the form of dwarfism that she has. And Caleb was like, that is like so far into the future. I'm not even thinking about kids. I haven't even met her in person yet, so I'm not even there mentally. And so the mother's like, well, these are things that you need to consider. It reminded me of, from a few seasons ago, Alexi and Lauren, because Lauren had Tourette syndrome. She had Tourette's. And when it came time for them to talk about children, Alexi was very worried about the fact that the children might also have Tourette's. And so they had to go talk to a genetic specialist to find out what were the chances or the odds of their child having Tourette's. It was like a really big deal to Alexi. And Lauren kind of saw it as like, like he was, like he didn't accept all of her, and that he had like this issue. Like he thought that her Tourette's was like so horrible that he wouldn't dare want his children to have it. And she's like, I'm living with it and I'm fine. So what's wrong if my kids are like me? So yeah, so that conversation that Caleb had with his parents about whether or not, is he concerned about his children with Elena possibly being little people, he was like, you know what, that's just so far in the future, I'm not even thinking about that. So then we move on to Elena. She's getting ready for her trip to Turkey. Elijah is, expressing his concerns about Caleb, basically saying that she really doesn't know him that well, and he himself doesn't really know Caleb either. and that Caleb is not very expressive. He's not very communicative, I guess. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. So those are his Elijah's concerns about Caleb. So back to Caleb, he's packing up his suitcase, and this is when he's talking about his religious upbringing. And he says that even though he grew up in a very religious household, he's like a very, very sexual person. And obviously this is probably foreshadowing something that's going to come up between him and Elena at some point in the future. So he takes his box of protection with him, and just in case, they do what it do. And he says that their connection is so deep that the fact that he's average size and she's a little person, he says it's not going to matter to him at all because they've connected on a very deep level. So the friend says that because he meets up, his friend is going to be taking him to the airport. So on the way to the airport, his friend is like, man, this is crazy that you're going all the way across the world to meet this girl that you never met before. So there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of nerves that are getting worked up between Caleb and Elena meeting. Caleb is a pretty big guy. Okay, I think even for average sized people, he might be a little bit on the larger side, not as far as weight or fat, but just like he's so tall. He's very, he works out, obviously. He's very, very fit. He's got these broad shoulders. And so it's going to be interesting how they, navigate that. The fact that he's not just average size, but a little bit above average size. And the fact that she has a form of dwarfism where she's like, really, really small. So when Elena is checking into the hotel with Elijah, she arrives in Turkey, she's checking in, and at the front desk, she's asking them, where's the elevator? And they tell her, we don't have an elevator. And her room is on the second floor. So Caleb was the one that booked the room. So that was a concern for her that he didn't even take consideration if the hotel had accommodations for her and her wheelchair and her size, because of the fact that, she can't be going up flights and flights of stairs, and this hotel has no elevator. So that kind of concerned her that he didn't take that into consideration. And so the next day, Elena tells Elijah, because they're getting ready to go to the airport to meet Caleb. So she tells Elijah that, when we get to the airport, I want you to not be there. I want to meet him alone. And Elijah's like, so what's the point of me taking you to the airport? And she says, well, I want you to take me there because I need your support on my way there. But once I'm there, I want to meet him by myself. So on the ride to the airport, she tells Elijah that she has a lot of insecurity about Caleb seeing her for the first time because she's worried that he might freak out because she's in a wheelchair, or she might be smaller than what he expected. So she has like a lot of nervous energy and a lot of anxiety about the first time that he sees her. And I thought that he knew that she was already in a wheelchair. Elijah is very, very protective of Elena, and so he will physically harm Caleb if he doesn't do if he makes her feel bad or sad, or if this goes left in any kind of way, Elijah is ready to throw them hands on Caleb. So she's in her wheelchair at the airport, and she's by herself, and she's waiting for Caleb to show up, and that's where their segment ends. So we don't get to see the actual meetup until the next episode. Kim and Usman, aka Soldier Boy. So they met almost about a year ago, and they're going to be meeting in Tanzania. Actually, they're going to be meeting in Zanzibar, which is a tiny little island off the coast of Tanzania, because that's where he's going to be shooting his music video. So she's worried about leaving her mom, and she's crying and hugging her mom, and she's like, you have so-and-so's number, and you have so-and-so's number if anything goes wrong. And the mom was like, girl, can you get on that damn plane and leave me alone? I am fine. And I don't know exactly what Kim's mother's medical conditions are, but the woman seems fit and healthy, like she can take care of herself. So I didn't understand, Kim being like really worked up about leaving her mother. I guess maybe unless this is the first time that she's left her for this long, but the mom looked like she could take care of herself. So she says that every ounce in her is telling her that this is what she needs to do. Okay, I hope so, Kim. So she says that she loves Usman, but he doesn't know, she doesn't know if he wants to be in a relationship again. Kim loves Usman, but he's not sure if he wants to be in this relationship with Kim because of what he went through with baby gal Lisa. So he sees a lot of similarities between Lisa and Kim that kind of concerns him because they're both American, they're both white, they're both the same age, they're in their 50s. So he doesn't want to repeat the past at all. And I'm like, okay, if you don't want to repeat the past, Usman, why don't you just do something completely different? Oh, but he did, but it didn't work out, and we'll get to that later. So, he says that he doesn't want to repeat the past, and yeah. So Kim actually lands in Ethiopia first. It took her 2 flights and 27 hours to get to Ethiopia, and then she's got one more flight that's going to take her to Tanzania, and Usman will be arriving the following day. So Usman, he's in the studio doing his thing, making his music. He's an international superstar, king of Africa. Now, I don't listen to a lot of international music, and I don't know a lot of African music artists. I know 1 or 2, and neither one of them is Soulja Boy. So he's been singing for 10 years. He says that he's finally seeing his career take off, and he wants to be a bigger star in the United States, like Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, Jay-Z. He says, I believe it, so it will happen. I'm like, boy, you better manifest that. So he talks about his divorce from Lisa. She was way too controlling, as we all saw in the previous season. She was way too controlling, way too jealous. Geno, are you taking notes? My boy, are you taking notes? Way too jealous, very insecure, and it was affecting his career. So, he had to let that go. And so, according to Soulja Boy, Kimberly was a fan of his online, and then she became more than a fan. And I'm like, when did she become more than a fan, Soulja Boy? Was it after she was sending you funds to financially support your career? Is that when she became more than just a fan? Because that's very interesting. I need to know, Soulja Boy, out of all the women who were giving you attention, who were DMing you, sending you photos of this and that and the other, who were proclaiming their love for you, out of all those women, you zeroed in on Kim. Why is that? What made her special? What made her stand out? Did it have anything to do with finances, with her living in America? What was it? Let me know. So Soulja Boy says that he says that she's beautiful. He loves her personality, but he still calls her his potential because he wants to make sure that she's in it for the right reasons. Oh, okay. Soulja Boy wants to make sure that Kim is in this for the right reasons. Gotcha. Okay. So, and Kim has no concern about the fact that he has no concerns of whether or not he's in this for the right reasons. He doesn't want to, like I said, he doesn't want to repeat the mistake that he made with Lisa. And Lisa was in it for the right reason because she really wanted him all to herself and she didn't want to share him with anybody else. So Soulja Boy has this concern that maybe Kim is only interested in him because he's famous and he's a singer and an entertainer or whatever. So, he wants to make sure that she really loves the real Soulja Boy. So he's meeting up with his crew, his friends, and the friends are, of course, against this whole relationship because she's old and da-da-da-da, and why can't he get with somebody younger and prettier and more like a model? One of the friends says that because Soulja Boy is a celebrity, people expect him to move with a young, beautiful woman by his side, not some older grandmother-looking woman. So Soulja Boy says that Kim and Lisa are the same age, but the difference is Kim is more submissive and she's more supportive of his career. And that could be true because we do know from what Kim's mother said that Kim is the kind of woman that when she's in a relationship, she's a man pleaser. She does whatever the hell the man wants her to do to make him happy. And she bends over backwards to be the woman that the man wants her to be. So yeah, Zara, that is the name of his song. That is the song that Kim's friends had an issue with because they were like, well, he's got this song called Zara. Do you even know who the hell Zara is? And Kim kind of brushed it off, but there is a real Zara. This song is about a real person. So Zara is an ex-girlfriend of Soldier Boy. She's an American woman, younger African-American chick from America that he was talking to, that he was having a relationship with, I guess. And because of her jealousy, she couldn't take it no more. So she broke up with him. And Soldier Boy said that it really, really affected him when she broke up with him. And it was really hard for him. And so he writes this song about her. And then he tells his friends that, he needs to stop writing songs about the women in his life because it always ends badly. So he needs to stop that habit. So we see a picture of Zara. She's a very beautiful, attractive, voluptuous woman. And she's got curves for days, pretty face, gorgeous woman, but it didn't work out because she was too jealous. And I'm like, who are these women who are falling all over? I mean, if a Soldier Boy, if you got it like that, okay, where all these, Lisa left you because she was jealous. Zara left you because she was. So you're getting all this female heat, all this female attention, but you zero in on Kim. Soldier Boy, what was it about Kim that convinced you that she was the one for you? So he says that if he is convinced that Kim is in it for the right reasons, and that she's not with him just because he's a celebrity, then there's a good chance Kim might be the one. She might be the one for him. Moving on to Memphis and Hamza. So she drops off her kids at her ex-husband's house. She says that even though her ex-husband is not the father of her oldest child, which is her daughter, he is the only father figure that she knows. So let's pause here because I have a slight commentary to make. Okay, 90 Day Fiancé. Some people think all this is fake. Some people think all this is real. Some people think it's a mixture of both. Whatever the situation is, whether this is real, whether this is not real, I don't know. But the thing is this. There are real children involved with these people. And that kind of bothers me that these people are making these foolish decisions to be with people who they don't know, fly across the world, leave their kids behind for whatever. This, very reminiscent of, what was that girl's name? Azan and, I keep on wanting to call her Heather. I can't think of her name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Azan and the blonde girl with the little girl named, what was her daughter's name? May. Yes. What is her name? Nicole. Azan and Nicole. So, she had this child that she was constantly leaving because she was constantly catching flights to wherever the hell Azan was living in North Africa. And then she brought her daughter with her. And it's just a lot for the kids. The parents are constantly disappearing, coming back. Then they drag the kids all over the world. That's the part that kind of bothers me. It's like, why can't the show pick people who don't have children so they can go on and make these dumb mistakes and it hurts nobody but themselves? But then they have kids and maybe the kids are going to get attached to these, pseudo step parents, and then it doesn't work out. It's just crazy. And it's like the kids are in the middle of all of this. And that's what I think of. So she drops off her kids at her ex-husband's house and she's on her way to meet Hazma. So she stops by her foster sister's house, Ingrid. Ingrid is going to be driving her to the airport. So Ingrid, obviously has hesitations and doubts about this whole relationship. She tells Ingrid that this is going to, because Ingrid says there's no way that I could leave my kids to go fly across the world to go, be with some man that I don't even know, that I've only met on the internet. And, Memphis says, well, this is going to be good for her because it's going to benefit her kids in the long run. And she says that Hamza is going to be a great father figure and they're going to have a great life. Memphis literally says this on camera to her foster sister, that Hamza is going to be a great father figure for her children and they're going to have a great life and it's worth it all. And I'm just like, what in the world, besides you, taking showers in front of him, what in the world has occurred between y'all's relationship that makes you think that Hamza is a great father figure? Y'all don't even speak the same language and you've only communicated on FaceTime. but you feel like he's going to be a huge benefit for your children. Okay, fine. So Ingrid says in her confessional that Memphis is very impulsive and that she doesn't really know who she is herself and that she's a hothead. And this could be very intimidating for Hamza. So Hamza hasn't seen the real Memphis, okay? We have not seen the real Memphis yet. And Ingrid is giving us a heads up on the WhatsApp. So Hazma doesn't know when they started dating, does not know. So there's a secret that Memphis is keeping. When they began dating, they were having, I guess, a few rough patches. So she ended up spending the night or spending a couple of days with her ex-husband. And she said that she went to his house, her ex-husband's house, for emotional support, not for any, hanky-panky or anything like that. And so I'm like, okay, why in the world would you bring this up to Hamza? Why are you telling him this? Why would you want to tell him that? You can take that secret with you to your grave. What is the significance of telling him that, hey, when we were arguing or when we had a falling out, I went to go spend time with my ex-husband? Yes, that's going to make him feel so secure, so reassured about his relationship with you if he doesn't already have any doubts as it is. This is going to really solidify the fact that he wants to be with you, knowing that when you go back to America, well, she's supposed to be bringing him back to America on a spousal visa because they're going to get married right away. But yeah, that's going to make him feel, that much more secure in this relationship. Why would you even bring this up, Memphis? Like, why? And so Memphis had a previous relationship where she talks about her own insecurities that she feels with Hamza. She says that, she wonders if he's going to be attracted to her when they finally see each other face to face, because she said that in a previous relationship, it kind of fell apart because they didn't have an emotional connection. And they didn't have a physical connection. And so she worries about that. So for this to be a part of this episode, for this to be shown to us, her saying this makes me think, okay, this is a foreshadowing of some intimacy issues between her and Hamza. So Ingrid is worried that this will be a waste of her time and a waste of her money. So Ingrid does not see it for your girl Memphis at all. But we'll see how that works out. Moving on. Mike, 34. This is a new couple from Thiels, New York, and Jimena, 24, from Colombia. So, TLC, I'm going to need you to do something for me real quick. TLC, producers of 90 Day Fiancé, the higher-ups of this franchise. Stop exploiting people. Stop exploiting people. For once, TLC, I would like to see what happened to the days of Lauren and Alexi. The days of, I forgot that couple's name, but they're both very good looking. What happened to the days where people were not these lost, lonely, sad souls who are just looking for love, who are so desperate to find it that they're willing to go outside of the borders of America to find love? Like, what happened to those? Okay, so Mike is 34 years old and he is in IT support, and he also works as a volunteer firefighter. He likes to build models and Legos, and he still lives at home with his father and his grandfather. He has two younger brothers who have both left the coop. They flew the coop. They have their own families. And he helps his dad take care of his grandfather. And I'm trying to think to myself, okay, are you helping your dad take care of your grandfather like that? Or are you just someone who can't live on their own for some reason? Mike is making pancakes for his father and his grandfather. He's in the kitchen making pancakes. And I've never seen pancakes so thin in my life before. Those pancakes were like paper thin. Maybe he was making crepes, and I just thought they said pancakes. He hasn't had a relationship in the past 20 years. Y'all, he's 34, and he hasn't had a relationship in the past 20 years. So his last relationship was in high school when he was only 14 years old. He said it lasted about a year, but I seriously doubt that, because a year's time for a 14-year-old is probably like 6 weeks in adult time. So he's never really been in a relationship, period. And it wasn't working out with him meeting anybody, I guess, in the United States or in his hometown. So he decided to go online, international online dating, and that's where he met Jimena, who was 24 years old. They've been talking for over a year. He says that they have a very deep emotional and mental connection, but their main problem is language. She speaks no English and he speaks a little bit of Spanish, un poquito. So he's talking with his brother, and his brother is like a really nice looking guy. He kind of reminds me of like a younger, slightly younger, Robert De Niro. Like he could have been Robert De Niro's son. He kind of had that Robert De Niro look about him. He's a very good looking man. So Steven is older than Mike. Mike is the oldest of his brothers, but his brothers are like really tall and healthy, fit guys. And Mike is like, okay. So their mother passed away from stage 4 colon cancer. And when that happened, Mike entered like a really deep, deep depression. So when he met Jimena, he kind of was, coming out of that depression and starting to, she brought a lot of happiness to him. So that's why this woman is so important to Mike. And that kind of worries me because he was going through a really tough time when he met her. And then, his life, brightened up after he met her. And so she's like this source of happiness for him. So I don't know if Jimena knows, how much she means to him, because she's going to have to tread very lightly because this guy is like emotionally fragile. And, like, why can't his family members like really look out for him and tell him this is not the way to go? This is not the way to, anyways, let's move on. So Jimena changed his life, and this is the happiest that his brothers have ever seen him. And so he doesn't want to let her go because she's so important to him. She brought happiness back into his life. Tells his brother that he's thinking about proposing. And of course, the brother is like, no way, no boy, no, please don't. And he's like, he's already bought the ring. So when he goes there, he's going to feel it out and see how it goes. But his intention is to propose to Jimena. So, of course, there's a lot of reservations there from the brother. And the brother says, even though Mike is 7 years older than me, I feel like the older brother because he's got to look out for Mike. I'm pretty sure you do. Mike looks like someone who needs to have someone looking out for him, taking care of him. So I'm really wondering, Mike, are you living with your father and your grandfather because you're helping your father take care of your grandfather? Or are you living with them because for some reason you can't live on your own? You can't live independently. So he meets up with his friend and his friend's wife because they're on their way to the store. He says he wants to buy toys. So I was like, okay, are those kind of toys, or you just want to buy something cute for Jimena? Well, coming to find out, Jimena has children. Okay, so we're adding kids into the mix. Jimena has 2 children. She's got a 7 and a 3-year-old. So he's buying toys for her kids. He's terrified about being a stepfather. He does want to have a family with Jimena. He does want to have children of his own, but he's terrified about being a stepfather. The friend says that Mike is absolutely blinded by Jimena's looks. And we do see Jimena. She is she's a cute girl. And so, the friends are very worried about that. And they're like, Mike, how do you know that she's in it for the right reasons? And have you spent any money on her? He tells his friends that he's pays her rent, bought her a fridge, a washing machine, and those are the things he's willing to admit. I'm pretty sure he's also sending like cold hard cash too over there, through Western Union or through money orders. I'm pretty sure he's doing that as well on top of the rent and the appliances. The friends are saying that he's ignoring major red flags. Yeah, he is. He really is. He really is. Yeah, he is. I'm very worried about Mike. So we're going to see what happens when he arrives in Colombia. I don't know if Mike really knows any better. I mean, I look at Geno and I'm like, Geno, you should know better. I look at Kim and I'm like, girl, you should know better. I look at Memphis and I'm like, Memphis, you should know better. But with Mike, I don't know. I don't know about Mike. I worry about Mike. Anyways, this has gone on way too long, but there was a lot to dig into. If you've made it this long, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe. And I will talk to you later. Bye.